think that the Old Firm games are going to decide the end of the season. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week. If you'd asked me in August, I'd have said yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2 Old Firm games so far this season have actually, in terms of the title race, not meant an awful lot.
Completely backfired on each other.
Exactly.
In the first one,
Celtic won.
Ibrox, Celtic were all over
and then
Rangers.
They went and got beat off Livingston.
Yep, and then the next Old Firm,
Rangers
Celtic
win.
Park, Rangers all over Celtic.
And
They've
Rangers
completely.
got all the points.
The thing is, this is the point I was going to bring up earlier, and I said I was going to save it for this conversation. If you said to me that Rangers would have had their best league start in 20 years,
Well,
had their best league start, what's happening? I'd say they've
yeah.
won the title, haven't they?
Yeah.
It is madness what we are seeing this season. I don't know where it's came from, but all credit to Neil Francis Lennon for that. Because honestly, if you had said that to me at August, Rangers would have the best start by February. For me, that meant league over. Rangers have won. So it's been an interesting season. The Old Firms cannot be the only thing that decided this year. Look, if Rangers go and win the 2 Old Firm games, they're still what? They're like a point. You take a game in hand and go to, assuming they win that, it's still so close.
It depends. I suppose it depends on like the what. I think that the Old Firm game and the split might be huge, because I genuinely think that it's going to be. I know Celtic are stretching away a little bit just now, but
I'm so happy that we have the advantage of that being at Celtic Park.
Yeah, I firmly
That's
believe
massive.
that Rangers are going to get that. It's going to be tight when it comes to the split. I think it's going to be last game, second last game kind of thing.
The thing is, confidence is high in the Celtic camp right now.
It is
really
yeah,
high.
but I mean that can change very quickly.
It still could change, because you've got to consider this. Both teams have got Scottish Cup games to play. Both teams massive Europa League games to play.
Yeah,
For all we know, this is pie in the sky. It's not going to happen. But if both teams get through to the last 16 of Europa League, they could draw each other.
You say it's not going to happen. I think that's
No,
easy.
I'm
Sorry,
drawing each other. Drawing
yeah.
each other. They could draw each other for all we know, and then that changes everything.
Yeah.
That changes the season entirely. I don't want to throw that out there as being a possibility, because it's really
that would be
slim.
amazing,
It'd
wouldn't
it would change the course of this season.
How good would that be?
For me though, the confidence is that high in the Celtic camp now. Rangers can't afford one more slip up until Celtic slip up themselves. It could be tomorrow night, but if honestly, I'm saying it now, I'm going to be bold on the air, and I hopefully won't eat my words. If Rangers drop more points before Celtic do, the title's over. Celtic are champions, 9 in a row is here. That is my bold statement for the podcast right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a biased Celtic fan. I just don't see any way how a manager who has won 3 league titles already and won titles as a player who has the mentality of a winner can't. I don't see how it throws that away.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. If Rangers get beat tomorrow night and Celtic win, what's the gap there?
For me, it's done. It's done at that point, and it's not even that much of a gap. But I don't see how Celtic throw away all those points.
So Celtic,
with the squad
Celtic would be 10 clear.
This
Rangers
11,
have a game in hand.
this 11 is not better than the 16-17 Rangers side on the park, but on paper, this is the best Celtic side we have seen over the past since Brendan Rodgers became manager. On paper, it is the best side.
Oof.
It is the first side where I have had complete faith in the centre halves. It's the first side where I feel like, look,
you've got
system.
complete faith in Christopher Julian.
Aye, I know he slips up a couple of times, but
Whenever there's a big physical striker against him, he struggles. It's happened all season long.
Lyndon Dykes done it. Yes,
Kevin Nisbet did it.
that was back when he was still getting into
I
the
don't care. He
swing
did
of
it.
things.
You know, and I know Morelos hasn't scored against Celtic yet,
Still
but
waiting.
he's caused Julian no end of problems.
I think there is definitely a conversation.
Simirovic is injury prone. I always picked up a knock.
I think if you put what I'm saying is though, if you take the strongest Celtic 11 possible right now on paper, it is better than the strongest 11 side of that invincible season.
I don't think I agree with that. But
Do you not think
you're
so?
better.
Because if you look at the 11 back then, and we'll try and get over this very quickly so we can talk about more Rangers and stuff as well. If you look at the 11 back then, there was no back four that whole season that we favoured, because at the start of the season it was Fiatchenko who was in the team.
Toure was in there as well.
Toure was in there as well.
Yeah.
For me, this on paper is a better side, and there is no way that if Rangers slip up before us, we can't win this title. But as of this current moment of recording, as the league table stands, as the games and results stand, yes, there's a big conversation for
So
this
you're
title
telling me
still
right now, if Rangers draw at Hibs tomorrow night and Celtic win another, the league's done?
I think it's done.
Oof.
That is my statement. I think it's done.
But it's right, okay, but if that happens, right, that Celtic will be 9 ahead with Rangers have a game in hand. So Rangers win their game in hand at 6 points. 2 Old Firm games, Rangers win both of them at 6 points.
unmovable.
And then you're also gambling. You're also expecting Celtic aren't going to drop points elsewhere. I don't know. I disagree. I was almost going to agree with you, but I don't.
Nah.
I think that there's still.
When you put it into that perspective,
it's still February.
It's still February, but right, okay, we'll go back to your point and saying right, if that leaves us 6 points, the two Old Firms, right?
But I mean, I think Rangers are favourites for the Old Firms. If you look at what's happened recently.
Right, okay, but right. So say Rangers do win those two Old Firms and they draw level, right? Yeah. Celtic A have a better goal difference, right? And I know that's not a lot because points mean more, but B, Rangers will also drop points elsewhere, and they are more, and they have proven it over the last 2 weeks.
But then what if Rangers' bad run of form is now out of their system? Because every team has a bad run. What if that's their bad run done? What if they're going to run now?
It's not convincing me.
If I've learned anything from about this season so far, it's that you don't jump the gun too early. Because there's been times this season where Rangers fans have thought they won the league.
I hope I don't.
And there was times earlier in the season where Celtic fans thought they won it and they had to change their mind again. There's been so many twists and turns. I think there's going to be more. I don't think that there is not a hope in hell.
But what I'm
that
saying,
the league title is going to be decided on the 5th of February.
And that's exactly why I think both teams are going to win tomorrow night. So I'm not saying it's going to be the 5th of February either, but in the situation it does happen, that is my.
So to answer Sharpnell's question,
yes.
Did we even answer that question?
Does the Old Firm games decide them?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. Because as you already brought up, the two games we've had already have meant nothing. So, but it's an interesting point because if you do leave yourself in that scenario where it is a 6 point gap and it's their two games is in it could mean the world to Rangers. So I guess we'll know closer to the time. When it comes to March, what's the date for the next Old Firm? March. It's in March. When it comes to the next Old Firm, when we see what the standing is going into that, we'll have a completely different idea.
Yeah.
Better idea.
Big talking point now is just
the point that we've not got to. There we go. The Griffiths stamp. The stamp. So, Lee Griffiths, I guess the conversation point is the treatment same for him as it is for other players around the league? That has been the main conversation. I guess it's something we can't easily just go by. We do need to speak about it. It has been the whole talking point of Scottish football all weekend. Chris Sutton tried to defend him.
Would Chris Sutton defend that if it was Alfredo Morelos?
That was the question. That is. I don't think he would have. Not a chance.
But
Chris Sutton, this is the one I think I've always praised Chris Sutton for a pundit who tells it how it is, but in this situation I think he makes a complete fool of himself. There is the kind of justification he gives for Griffiths doing this, for me,
it's the lack of consistency.
It's not.
If you're going to slaughter Morelos, then you've got to slaughter Griffiths for me.
Aye, I can see where you're coming from. I think there is that conversation though. There is the point that like Morelos has been let off with things like this in the past. We've seen it happen with Anthony Dawson. We've seen him pulling Scott Brown around on the park constantly. We've seen that back and forth though, so that's not just a slight on Morelos. We've also seen a situation where Ryan Kent has punched Scott Brown in the middle of the park to the referee's viewing and stayed on the park. Now that is another act of physical. This isn't me coming out and defending Celtic and lambasting Rangers. I'm not being biased here. What my point is, there is an inconsistency of refereeing league wide everywhere, and I don't think it specifically comes down to an individual or player. Yes, Morelos does seem to get the short end of the stick a lot of the time, but there is just an inconsistency from the refereeing all around Scotland. And this is another example.
The one that's been doing the round is the incident he had with McKenna at Pittodrie last year, where he got sent off for an alleged sort of stamp. Now, if that's a red card, Griffiths is a red card without a doubt.
Oh no, I'm
not entirely sure.
Not taking away at all. It should have been a red. Should have walked.
Yeah, see, I think he probably should have done, but I don't think to call it a stamp. Griffiths just needs to get out there and not get involved. He's stupid in that situation. I just think if you're going to have a level of consistency, he has to be sent off.
There's no denying it's a red. There's absolutely no denying it. But the first time I seen it in real time, I was unsure of what was actually happening. As soon as you see the highlights back,
it's more like he lands on
these
him
angles,
and he stamps on it.
Aye, and it's got to be a red. But my point is, and this is the point I've been saying all weekend, the refereeing in this country, I don't think targets anybody individually. I honestly don't. As much as Rangers fans may see it, Morelos has been let away with plenty in the past. He's also seen his fair share of reds. There's just an inconsistency every single week from every referee.
I'm going to speak here to someone who's not an Old Firm supporter. Both sets of supporters of the Old Firm think the SFA and the referees have it in for them. They both genuinely. There's large sections of both supporters that genuinely believe that.
Because you see it firsthand. And as a Celtic fan, I will openly admit there is times I feel like the referees have been unjust to us. But
it swings and roundabouts.
Aye.
I genuinely believe that these refereeing decisions more or less balance themselves out at the end of the season. You're going to get referees who make mistakes in every single game, and like there will have been refereeing mistakes in the other 4 games of the Premiership this season that will not this weekend that won't get talked about because it wasn't Old Firm.
Guarantee there is plenty of occasions and non-televised games where we see situations like stamps, we see situations like horrific tackles, and we see controversial red cards that will not get spoken about in the slightest because of situations like these.
I'm going to try and prove my point here. 2004 Scottish Cup final, Celtic Dunfermline, right? Dunfermline went in 1-0 up at half time. This was Larsson's last game for Celtic, I'm pretty sure.
Aye.
Do you remember what the controversial refereeing decision was in that game?
Oh, I was 4-year-old and I've not watched the highlights in about 10 years, so David, you're going to have to tell me.
It's so Dunfermline should have had a penalty at 1-0 up. So Big Bo Wilde handballed it. But because it wasn't the Old Firm, nobody's crying about it. There you are.
Well, it's...
I'm crying about it.
You know what it's like from an outside point, because the conversation on social media, the conversation in the real media is always Old Firm orientated. It's Celtic,
right.
Rangers.
So that's like it. The Rangers pundits say that he should have walked. The Celtic pundits say he shouldn't have done.
Yep,
it's just lazy punditry.
That's what happens, and it's very rare you get a pundit who comes across on these games. You know,
I think Ali McCoist is the
Craig
best of the bunch. At the Old Firm pundits, I think Ali McCoist is the best of them in terms of being impartial.
Ali McCoist a pundit. I kind of openly admit that, and there was no unreasonable cry from Ali McCoist at the weekend when it came to this situation, because obviously he was at the game, Chris Sutton was at the game, both of them were there together speaking about the situation, and honestly I believe the more right in that situation was Ali McCoist. He was the one who was on the right sort of argument. But no, I do believe, for as much as Morelos feels like he's targeted by referees, and Rangers fans believe that, and look, it happens everywhere. I don't think Morelos is any special individual. It's a matter of the referee in this country has to be. His
reputation goes against him though. The same with people who
doesn't
dive.
help himself.
See people that dive, you'll see it all the time.
Happens in England with Raheem Sterling and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Sterling, right, will actually genuinely get fouled and he won't get it because they think he's dived because he's got previous. That's the sort of thing Morelos.
He doesn't help himself.
Yeah, of course.
But to quickly end the argument, look, Griffiths.
Referees are hopeless. That's how we end the argument.
That's it.
It's at every level of football. Referees make mistakes.
You've said it best. It's what I started the argument with. It's what you're ending the argument with.
Actually, it's a bit harsh to say they're hopeless, but they do make mistakes, and it happens at every level of football. And it balances out. It's not, I don't think one team gets preferential treatment. I think that's just nonsense to suggest.